Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for spending a few minutes today. I'm sure it feels good to sit down as well. So hopefully we'll make your 20 minutes of sitting worthwhile. I'm Steve Leonard. I lead global operations for Catalent. I'm going to talk to you today about a lot of what we do internally and how we manage our supply base as well on behalf of our global clients. I just want to spend a couple minutes and tell you about Catalent and who we are and the environment that we operate in, just to put in context the rest of the dialogue for what I'm going to talk about today. So, at Catalent, we are the world leader in drug delivery technologies, and we produce a wide variety of advanced drug delivery technologies all over the world. So everything from our almost $1 billion soft gel business that operates at 11 different sites on multiple continents, to our sterile offerings, our blow-fill-seal offerings, our fast dissolve, oral dissolving technology. Anywhere there's a specialty dosage need, if it's in an injectable space or an oral space or a biologic space, those are the things that we do. And we do that on behalf of really most of the big pharma and small pharma customers around the world. So any of the pharma customers that are top of mind to you, those are our customers, and we're producing products for them all over the world. So just a quick snapshot of our manufacturing network. So I have 29 sites that we manage. We're in all the places that our clients need us to be. So whether that's in South America or in Asia, and certainly in Europe and the US, this is the environment that we operate in from a quality, compliance, and a regulatory perspective. So along with that global scope and scale comes a lot of advantages, and also comes a lot of complexity that we need to manage on behalf of our customers and their patients. So when we think about choosing a partner, whether it's us choosing a partner or our clients choosing us, there's some pretty basic things that we think about and that our customers think about as well. So there's a list here, and you read down this list, and I would say it falls under the banner of somewhat obvious. And I'd like you to think about, just because it's common sense doesn't mean that it's common practice. A lot of these things are common sense, and I think the challenge in operationalizing these things and making sure that you have a supply chain that has the degree of robustness and resilience that our patients deserve, you need to figure out how do you make these common sense items common practice. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this afternoon how we go about doing that, and really what differentiates us as a supply chain on behalf of our clients and our customers. So first, it's around getting the values right. So when we go about selecting our suppliers, and certainly when our customers come around and they talk about us, we want to make sure that there's alignment on some of the basics. And you can see here on the left side of the page, these are the values that we operate by as Catalent every day. So you can walk into any of our plants around the world, and you'll not only see these words on the wall, but you'll see behaviors that are aligned with these values. So lots of companies have value statements, mission statements. Some of them are pretty grand, all of them sound pretty good, and the real test is, are the behaviors actually aligned with those words? And we have processes and management systems in place that drive transparency and accountability around those behaviors to make sure that our people are living by what you see on the left side of this page. So when we talk about Catalent, when we go to market, if you've seen our booth that's a few doors down this way, we talk about more products, better treatments, reliably supplied. So this is about us helping our customers bring more products to market faster, making those treatments better for their patients, and then finally reliably supplying them. And this is really where the resilience of that supply chain comes in. And it's part of the value that we add and the value we create as Catalent when we're a partner to our customer. That reliably supplied is not something that happens by accident. It happens through a very structured set of processes and a lot of rigor and discipline in the way that we run the business. So making sure that this is aligned up front with our customers and clients expect is really, really important. So when you think about selecting a partner, whether you're coming to Catalent or going to anybody else, there's some pretty basic things that you should be asking yourself and asking potential people that you'd like to partner with. I mean, you can walk around the show here today, it's massive. It goes on and on and on, and there's an unlimited number of people who are competing for your business. So some basic questions you should be asking when you go into their booth is, who else are they doing business with? Are they doing business with people that have high expectations, the same ethical standards as you have, and what is their track record? I always say the best indication of future performance is past performance. So everybody can tell a great story, and the question is it real? What's behind it? And how are they performing today for the clients that they have? Everybody's here at the show wanting to develop new clients and add to their business, and the question you should be asking all of them is, how are you doing on the customers that you already have? And are you supplying them in a robust way? And are the quality systems and systems of compliance that you have in place working? And prove it to me. Show me the data, right? It's great to listen and have a nice discussion, but those customers should be telling you, how did they do on their last regulatory inspection? What happened when the FDA or MHRA was at their site last week or the week before? And if they're not providing you that level of transparency, chances are the performance is not what you're looking for. So ask the tough questions, make sure you're getting answers to those questions, and certainly when you come to Catalent, we'll give you the answers to those questions and we'll tell you exactly how we're performing. Second, lots of people have metrics in place. Lean is one of these things that I would say is a fashionable thing to do. Every company says, I have a Lean program, I have a Six Sigma program, and the question is, are they using those tools just because some consultant told them they should? Or are they using those tools to actually run the business? Are the metrics that they have in place driving transparency, driving the accountability, and driving that mindset of continuous improvement? Every continuous improvement activity doesn't require a Lean or a Six Sigma tool. Some of it just requires a lot of leadership discipline, the commitment to follow through, the commitment to have good procedures, to hold people accountable to follow those procedures. So when you're talking to a supplier or a potential supplier, talk to them about their metrics. Ask them how they're doing. Not only how they're doing, but what are they doing about it? So it's great to measure something. Lots of people have dashboards and charts all over the wall. And the question is, are they really using those metrics to run the business and to drive action? And if they're not, it's just all a nice facade. And you, as you choose a partner, need to see through that facade and understand what's happening with those metrics and what are your partners doing with those metrics. And in the end, are they benefiting you? The second thing you ought to be asking when you're choosing a partner is, does this partner have the scale and capability that I need? This is a global market that we all live in. You can see that easily as you walk around the show here today. So if you're going to run a global business and put a product out in the global market, you need a partner that's ready to do that, that has the regulatory expertise around the world, that has the quality systems that aren't just aligned with a single regulator, but aligned to deal with the global regulatory complexity that exists in the world today. So at Catalent, a typical year for us is 50 or 60 different regulatory audits from all different regulators in all corners of the world. And layered on top of that, about 400 customer audits. So our customers are coming into our sites every day, right? And they're providing the similar level of surveillance that a regulator would. There's an audit going on every day in our network. So you should ask your customers, who's overseeing? Do you have the depth of expertise to deal with that regulatory complexity? And assure that there's never going to be interruption in the supply chain, right? The easiest way to have your supply chain interrupted is to have one of your partners get into regulatory trouble, get into a warning letter, get into a consent decree, all those bad things that we read about in the press every day. You need to make sure that your partners are miles away from that happening to them. The other thing is you want to make sure that your partners are financially stable. It's tough to say my supply chain is resilient and robust if that partner doesn't have the ability to reinvest in their facilities, to maintain the fabric of facilities that are required to stay in compliance, whether it's HVAC systems, water systems, all those basic things, it all costs money. So if your supplier is not financially stable and not reinvesting at a level that's healthy enough to sustain compliance, you should be suspect, right? It's great to have a partner that's cost effective. It's better to have a partner that's cost effective and is going to be there to support you in the long run. So beyond all the obvious things that you see every day, at Catalent there's a whole bunch of things that are and should be invisible to you that we make massive investments in. So your partner should have systems around crisis management, business continuity, managing the complexity of international trade controls, all the things that you need to do to make sure that that supply chain is resilient. So we do business with hundreds of customers. Upstream in the supply chain, we have thousands of suppliers. So our clients count on us to have the same level of surveillance over them that they have on us. So do your partners, do they have a robust supplier quality assurance program? How are they managing their supply base? Are they going and physically doing those audits? Do they have the right level of surveillance that assures you're not going to have a supply chain interruption? So we often think about those high-risk things and those complicated things, but most of the time when there's a supply chain interruption, it's something simple. It's a label, it's a carton, right? It's a dye, it's a pigment, things that seem on the surface very low risk. Any one of those things can stop your product from making its way to the market. So you need to be asking your potential partners, do they have those processes in place? How robust is the supply chain that they're managing on your behalf? That complexity that's upstream in that supply chain between us and our clients is massively complex. So again, this is about having the resources, the bandwidth, and then the management processes to make sure that those plans are not just on paper, but they're actionable, they're tested, and they're operationalized. So what we do at Catalent is we have a very structured operating system. So we use the words rigor and rhythm when we talk about how we run the business. And this starts every day on the factory floor in every single plant. And that cadence, as you can see, kind of goes up the pyramid. So personally, I have an operations review with every single site every single week. And we go through a full suite of metrics that's a balanced scorecard. And people say, well, how do you do that? And it's about having the discipline and rigor to make sure that the metrics are there, that they're up to date, and you can focus on the exceptions and the things that really require leadership attention. And again, this is about creating transparency and driving action. Those same metrics get reviewed by our executive team on a monthly basis, and they go all the way up to our board of directors every quarter. So there is transparency up and down the organization around what's important. And it goes beyond just, did you make this week's deliveries, right? We talk about our environment, health, and safety systems, our crisis management plans, our security systems. So we have lots of assets that need to be secured and lots of your products that need to be secured through the supply chain. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through rigorous process and management systems and the discipline to follow up. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this all seems pretty basic, and lots of consultants will tell you this is the way you need to run the business. But why most people fail is they don't have the persistence and the discipline to do this week in, week out, month in, month out. You're never done doing this activity. And the leadership team needs to be continuing to drive for more transparency and be able to focus the resources on where those gaps are, right? And close those gaps before they interrupt the supply chain. Nobody likes a surprise. And our job at Catalent is to make sure that our customers and their patients never, ever, ever get surprised. And the magic is not in what's on this page, it's how you operationalize what's on this page. So when you're choosing partners here at the show, you should be asking those tough questions, not just about what does it say in their booth, but what are they really doing operationally to make sure that your supply chain is never going to get interrupted. So doing your homework up front is really the best recipe of success. If you pick a bad partner, you're going to have a long and painful relationship between you and the partner. So do the work up front, do the due diligence, ask the tough questions, pick the right partner. Then document it. Put the contractual language in place, put the quality agreements in place. All those things are really important so that the expectations between you and that partner are crystal clear. Nobody should be wondering 6 months from now, hey, I thought you were going to do this. And then we said, no, we thought that the agreement was that. Go take the time, rigorously document who has what responsibility, and then have frequent dialogue and make sure there's governance in place. The metrics are only good if you're looking at them together and taking action on them. So with your partners, you ought to have that governance structure in place that has the open dialogue, that talks about, hey, we had a regulatory inspection last week. This was the result. These are the actions that we're going to take. It should never be a surprise to you as a customer what's going on in your partner's plants. And certainly with our customers at Catalent, it's never a surprise. That information is available to them every single day of the year. And that governance structure and having rigor and rhythm around that as well is really critical to making sure that that supply chain never gets interrupted. So again, back to where I started. Again, this falls under the category of just because it's common sense doesn't mean it's common practice, right? And you have a responsibility when you pick a partner to do the proper due diligence and hold your suppliers accountable, right? And we expect all of our customers and our clients to hold us to that very high standard. It's what drives us every day. It's what makes sure that that supply chain is robust and resilient, and there's never an interruption of a critical drug that needs to get to a patient. That's our responsibility, to make sure that those drugs are always available when they need to be available. So thanks for taking a few minutes to get off your feet and sit down and relax today, and thanks for your time.